FOX29. The mother of an 11-year-old girl who died by suicide has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Meta platforms, Facebook, Snapchat, because of her death. This is the photo that accompanied the obituary for Selena Rodriguez. The family attorney says her death by suicide was the direct result of the inaction and deliberately addictive design of these social media platforms that they allege prey on vulnerable children. I think a lot of people would relate to this. I mean, it is a complicated case. So let's bring in an attorney, Heather Hansen. Heather, good to see you.
Good to see you, Mike.
And a social media expert, JJ Cannon. Haven't seen you in a while, JJ. Good to see you.
Good morning, Mike.
So, JJ, it's little Selena. He's 11 years old.
Oh.
It sounded like her mom was trying to get her off of Facebook and Snapchat and everything else.
Yes. First of all, this is a terrible tragedy and experience that no parent wants to go through. It's terrible. I was a little concerned to read in an article where the mom was quoted as saying that her daughter had started using Snapchat and Instagram 2 years prior to her death.
She's 9.
And so I have to, it begs the question to me, why are we allowing our 9-year-old to have free reign on social media? And there's no one to blame here. I know when things like this happen, it's a natural response to try to place blame somewhere, and there's plenty to go around to these app developers. Look, Mike, there's no lifeguard on duty.
No.
And there should be a huge sign on before you download any social media app. There is no one here to supervise your children but you.
Yeah. So, Heather, how do you, she's got a tough case on her hands here. How do you prove this?
Well, and that's the thing, Mike. As JJ just said, there's a lot of blame to go around. And in the court, you have to prove not only did the social media companies do something wrong, which might be easy given the data we know that they are sort of targeting children, but you have to prove that it caused the damage. And as JJ pointed out, there's a lot of things that could have caused this suicide if one thing did. The social media certainly contributed, perhaps her early age, perhaps some genetic mental health issues, perhaps other things that we don't yet know about. And if you can't prove causation, it is an uphill climb.
JJ, what's your stance on, do you think, they purposely make like Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram addictive? Do we have research on that?
Absolutely.
You believe that they purposely do that?
Yes, and that has been, there is a documentary that every parent should watch that is very disturbing, and of course, I'm not going to remember the name of it right now, but it is, people are interviewed from these app companies about how they purposefully go about seeing, they know everything we scroll on, everything we hesitate at. If people don't know to turn their microphones off within each application, they're listening. That's why if we start talking about Pepperidge Farm cookies, I'm going to get an ad for them probably sometime later today in my Instagram.
Yeah.
You wouldn't allow your 9-year-old to go play on the playground with teenagers and adults, and that parents have to stalk their children. I regularly am stalking my 16-year-old daughter's Instagram account. And there have been plenty of times where I have screenshotted someone and said, block this person immediately, and why are you allowing them to follow?
Heather, you would probably agree with all of this.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And as JJ pointed out a little earlier, there are things that social media companies can do, and it may be that these lawsuits make them do it. So a warning, a limit to time. I noticed a parent if the child is going beyond the time, because while, yes, we want parents to be aware of what kids are doing, kids are also out at school and in the playground. And so you want to make sure that the social media companies are helping where they can.
Yes, Snapchat did put out a statement, and it started with, devastated to hear of Selena's passing. While we can't comment on the specifics of an active litigation, nothing is more important to us than the well-being of our community. We work closely with many mental health organizations to provide in-app tools and resources for Snapchatters as part of our ongoing work to keep our community safe. and it went on from there. What do you think about that, Heather?
I mean, listen, that's great. That's a great response. And they know they want the public to be supportive of them. It's going to be very hard for them, Mike, because blaming the mom doesn't fly well in lawsuits. So they're trying their best to try to find a line. I wouldn't be surprised if this case resolves out of court in order to save face for the social media companies. But this is not the first or the last. The people who filed this case, they've got other cases. The law firm is covering these and has many other cases.
And JJ, you weren't. I don't think you're not blaming the mother. You're just questioning all of us who let our children just wander freely around the playground of social media.
I think, in today's world, we've had a pandemic happening for the last 2 years. I'm sure this mother probably works full time. It sounds like there were some issues with her daughter.
Yeah.
And that, that this was a very difficult situation. I think the app companies should have, or the developers should have some kind of onus on them. They're smart enough to develop these apps. They should be smart enough to put in place something within phones between Apple or Android or whatever the phone companies are, that based on your birth date within your phone, that it would block you from downloading things before you're actually 12 or 13.
Our kids know how to get around stuff like that. But
they know how to get around it all.
At least an idea. It's, they've been brought up in front of Congress. I mean, this story's not going away. Thank you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll be right back.